Bonjour, welcome to my channel. My name is Hannah and let's talk movies. So the movies I'm going to talk about today, I saw in November and December of 2021, so I'm still like over 6 months behind on these videos. Hopefully I can catch up one day. I just need to do these more frequently. Like, they don't take that long to film and everything, so I think I'd be able to do this a little quicker. But anyway, the first movie that I saw in November, this was when I was in the US after my dad had passed away, is My Hero Academia World Heroes Mission. This is directed by Kenji Nagasaki, which his only movie credits are the 5 My Hero Academia movies that he has directed. I didn't know there were that many, and I've only seen this one. And so this is obviously an anime movie. This came out 2021, and I gave this 4 stars. So this is one of those movies where you're not really gonna understand this description, and you would have no idea what is happening in the movie if you have not seen the anime. There are like 3 or 4 seasons of My Hero Academia now. I'm not sure on that. I've watched all of them. I don't remember if this movie really like talks about the world before it gets into it. I don't think it does. It might just a little bit. I know the Demon Slayer one just like got into it. You definitely need to have some knowledge of the world this takes place in before seeing it, but I don't think you need to have watched all the seasons. Like, if you had just seen the first season, I feel like you could watch this movie just fine. But here's the summary. A mysterious group called Humorize strongly believes in the quirk singularity doomsday theory, which states that when quirks get mixed further in with further generations, that power will bring forth the end of humanity. In order to save everyone, the pro heroes around the world ask UA Academy Heroes in Training to assist them and form a world-class selected hero team. It is up to the heroes to save the world and the future heroes in what is the most dangerous crisis to take place yet in My Hero Academia. So actually I was able to see this in the movie theater with my cousin, which was pretty fun because I hadn't seen him in like a decade or longer. So overall, this actually ended up being a really great anime movie. You can tell they put a lot of time and money in this, as it has some of the best like tracking shots and animation that I have ever seen. Like, it really blew me away. And I even like commented about it to my cousin while we were watching it. We were the only ones in the theater, because I was just like, holy shit, this is amazing. My husband still hasn't seen this, so I'll probably rewatch it soon so that he can see it as well, because like, just watching this for the animation alone is worth it. The one weird part in this movie is that there were some very like Ghibli-esque scenes in here that just really didn't fit with the tone of the rest of the movie. And my cousin and I were just looking at each other like, what is going on? This does not make sense. But like I said, overall, this was a fun time. I'm so glad I was able to see it in the movie theater, just because those tracking shots, man. And yeah, like, I mean, I'm gonna rewatch it, so I think that kind of shows how good it is. Next is the movie Ghostbusters Afterlife. This is directed by Jason Reitman, who also directed Juno, of all things. This is a fantasy comedy adventure. It came out in 2021, and I gave this 2.5 stars. When a single mom and her 2 kids arrive in a small town, they begin to discover their connection to the original Ghostbusters and the secret legacy their grandfather left behind. So this movie completely did not need to be made. I would rather watch the original Ghostbusters 100%. The plot is also like too similar, which shouldn't be possible. It was just like, if you're gonna put the same characters, like just watch the original. Like, the pacing of this one was also very slow and so one note. Like, it just felt like the same thing throughout the entire movie. The actors were also completely wasted in this. The characters that Finn Wolfhard and Celeste O'Connor played, they really didn't contribute much to the movie at all, even though it seemed like they're supposed to be the main characters. And honestly, they could have easily just been completely removed from the movie altogether. So for me overall, this just ended up being an average movie. Like, there just wasn't anything new or exciting going on here. And like I said, if you want to watch a Ghostbusters movie, there's what, like 4 of them? Now, just freaking watch the original. Next is a movie that I watched on Hulu, actually, and that is False Positive. This is directed by John Lee, who has like 4 movie credits, and one of them is Pee-wee's Big Holiday. So quite an odd switch of genre there, but this is a mystery horror thriller. It came out in 2021 and I also gave this 2.5 stars. So warning before I read the summary and talk about this movie and stuff, this does deal with like infertility and being pregnant and stuff, so skip ahead if you don't want to hear anything about that. So the summary is, after months of trying and failing to get pregnant, Lucy and Adrian finally find their dream fertility doctor in the illustrious Dr. Hindle. But after becoming pregnant with a healthy baby girl, Lucy begins to notice something sinister through Hindle's gleaming charm, and she sets out to uncover the unsettling truth about him. So for me, this was actually not a horror movie. It is definitely more of a drama thriller, because for me, just because someone has a mental illness, that does not automatically make it a horror movie. I think that's pretty insulting, and that kind of seems like what this movie was doing here. So I really think that should be taken off of the genre list for this. So I've never been pregnant, had like tried to get pregnant, gone through a miscarriage that I know of, kind of thing. So I was kind of surprised how much empathy I had for the MC and how sorry I felt with her, and just how much it was like, you are really going through it kind of thing. But obviously I couldn't relate to what they were going through, but like just being able to give that empathy to the main character was definitely a thing for me throughout this movie. So my husband and I both watched this, and this is an A24 movie, and we have seen enough of those that when he found out that's the studio behind this, he said someone or something is going to be floating by the end of this, and I'm not going to confirm or not, but for those of you that have seen A24 movies, you know. So we do have an unreliable narrator here. I mean, you know that pretty much right away, so it's not like a spoiler or anything. So some scenes feel out of order, especially at the end, and the ending itself, I don't understand. Like, there's some things that are happening, I'm like, oh, okay, that represents this. But then the scene after just completely debunks that and makes everything that just happened not make sense, and the meaning behind it or anything. So I feel like I really enjoyed it up until the ending, but then that just really kind of threw me off and was just like, I don't understand this ending, I'm sorry. And it left me with more questions than I was hoping I would have. Lastly, we have Triangle, which is directed by Christopher Smith. This is a horror that came out in 2009, which is the year I graduated high school. And I gave this 3.5 stars. Is that? Oh no, My Hero Academia was the highest. This is the second highest. When Jess sets sail on a yacht with a group of friends, she cannot shake the feeling that there is something wrong. Her suspicions are realized when the yacht hits a storm and the group is forced to board a passing ocean liner to get to safety, a ship Jess is convinced she's been on before. So this is one of those movies where it is predictable in the end, but it's fun to try and figure out what's going on, where it's gonna go, how it's gonna end. So it's kind of worth watching just if that's the kind of movie that you enjoy. I do think you should go into this knowing as little as possible. Like, I'd heard a lot of horror, I almost said book talk, but it's not book talk. Is movie talk? Not movie talk. Why am I talking about TikTok? Movie tube. Is that a thing? Like, I don't know. They only talk about like movies mainly. I've seen some of them talk about this movie and bring it up. And so we finally watched it on Tubi, I think it was. And it was just a fun time. Like, it's an enjoyable movie. And there are some like glaring holes in the plots. But I mean, it's just still such a fun time and just entertaining movie to experience. Things do get crazy pretty quickly, so it's not like a slow start or anything. Like, it really gets into it, and by the end, you're just like, oh my gosh, this is how all this connects and everything. It's really fun to watch with someone else, and it's probably really fun in a group of people where you're just kind of like playing off each other and figuring out what in the world is going on here, because the summary gives like nothing away, and I really appreciate that about it. So I feel like if you enjoy movies where you can do theory crafting and where you don't mind some plot holes, like 100% just throw this on and have a fun time. And that's all for today. I feel like I get through these pretty quickly, especially since I saw them so long ago. I obviously can't remember as much. So maybe I should do more than 4 at a time, but not sure. We'll see about that next time. But as always, thank you for hanging out with me. It is always appreciated. And until next time, bonne journée and au revoir.